This session's topic is on business environment and corporate governance. This topic covers MCO for business environment. As you know, the business environment will be influenced by so many factors: political, cultural, legal, geographical, and also government policies. So, the based on the business environment, one has to take the decisions and decide according to the environment. The environment influences the business. If one has to do the business, attain their goals, they should be very keen to the environmental issues. If it is they have not concentrate, focus on environmental issues, then it is very difficult to them to attain their goals. All these are external factors which influences the organization or the business activities. So, to discuss the various issues which are relating to the business environment, here we have Professor Grover. He is senior most faculty member in School of Management, and he is closely associated with the School of Management IGNOU for developing and resolving the various issues relating to the academic aspects. So, I request Professor Grover ji.
Thank you, Professor Raju. In fact, everybody who has joined MCOM would have at the undergraduate level, whether he was a student of BCom or a student of BBA, would have had some idea about what exactly a business environment actually is. He must have studied a course either on business environment or maybe Indian economics. Somehow at IGNOU we did not plan for Indian economics for BCom, as has been the practice in the past and also as it is normal in the universities. We, going along with the time, decided to have a course on business environment at our BCom level. Now, even if you have been a student of economics honors, they are quite conversant with the area. See, in MCOM also, of course, we have tried to build on what they have learned in the BCom. Every student of commerce, or rather I should say business studies, is fully aware that every businessman has to function or carry out his business within a given environment, because one has to be conversant with the environmental factors or the kind of environment within which one is to do the business. Because if, for example, I do my business, I have to be conscious about the legal constraints, or for that matter the social constraints. If something is not allowed to be done, how can I really do it? And then there may be certain limitations within which one has to function. So one has to be conscious about the environmental aspects. In fact, the business environment, understanding of business environment is so important for a business unit to ensure its success that nobody can afford to be oblivious of the full details of the environment within which one functions. It helps him to be conscious of the constraints within which he has to function. It helps him to analyze the impact of the socio-economic changes that are taking place or political changes that are taking place. For example, if one is moving from a communist government to a
mixed
liberal government, it opens more doors. But if if it happens the other way, you know what you are in for. So accordingly, you have to contract. So it offers you a variety of opportunities, and Also, you become conscious of the threats, and accordingly, you adjust your business
Sir, even
working.
even within the liberalized government also, one party government and alliance government also, the policies are used to change. That also they have to.
And naturally, that will also have its impact. So one has to be conscious that one tries to build up a system which is in conformity with the political, social, and economic environment within the country. So from that point of view, once one knows that understanding of the environmental factors are important for, or are a key to success in business, one must know what are those various environmental aspects one has to be conscious of. They are primarily, you see, first of all, the socio-cultural environment. You see, what are the social values that a country has, or the society within which one is functioning has. Say, for example, I want to open a meat shop, and I am in a Muslim infested area. If I open a shop trying to sell pork,
Yes.
I am destined to be a failure. So I have to be conscious of the social environment within which I am functioning, and it can also be the other way around when it comes to going in for beef production or beef selling. So that kind of, just by way of an example. So social cultural environment, the cultural values that are existing within which one has to function are important. That is one aspect of the environment. Second, obviously, is the political environment. And then, because as you said, the kind of government that you have, the kind of policies that they have, the kind of thinking that they have, the kind of inclinations that they have, then you have to also fully be conscious of what is called legal environment, the laws of the country which govern the total functioning of the business units, total, labor inputs, and the labor and employer relationship. All those things are governed by law. What can be done, what cannot be done, if can be done, with what constraints it can be done, to what extent it can be done. All those things have to be, they are governed by the legal environment. Then, in addition to legal, then most important is economic environment, the kind of economic policies that the government has. Whether it's liberal policies that they have, or they are going for globalization, or they are for government control working and kind of planning the planned economy,
industrial policies,
exactly,
and investment policies,
and a number of things. We'll come to those details. Then technological environment, within which what kind of technology is being used, how advanced a particular society is within which we are functioning. Then international environment, because nowadays of globalization, one cannot overlook the kind of things that are happening in other countries, because if we are not conscious of what is happening in other countries, we will not be successful as competitors, because we have to face their competition. So that is the kind of things. Now all these aspects which I have hinted at, they very much form part of the MCO 4 that we have built up for our students in Masters in Commerce. Now, this particular course, that is MCO 4, Business Environment, has 5 blocks. The first block deals with the socio-cultural and political environment, and second one deals with legal environment. Third one leads with the financial markets, etc. Fourth one deals with the economic environment, and the last one deals with the technological and international environment. Now, talking about the first, it has 4 units. The first unit primarily concentrates on what you may call the socio-cultural aspects, and talking about the emerging scenario in terms of the weightage on rural markets and things like that, which gives them nice concepts of globalization, liberalization, all those things. This is an emerging scenario on the socio-cultural front. And then followed by what is called the political environment. I'm talking of the block 1, followed by the what you call the social responsibilities. That is the third unit, so to say, because social responsibility, Dr. Sahib, you know very well, this is a very important area in corporate functioning, because not only one has to take care of the responsibility towards the various stakeholders in the organization, but also have to do a few things towards the society. And they even go in for what is called social accounting these days and social reporting. If you look at the company's balance sheet, say for example Larsen Toubro is there, and there is another company, Grayson. You see, it clearly, in the report itself, they have social report making a difference. And in this case also, they will talk about what is called the corporate social responsibility. You see, it has become so important nowadays that the companies, as a part of their annual report, do show what is it that they're doing for the welfare of the society. That becomes a part of the social responsibility, and it builds ultimately a concept what is called social accounting and social reporting, as I have indicated. And then the fourth unit, of course, deals with the political environment in India. Primarily it covers what you call the, apart from the kind of political environment we have, the fundamental rights question, the directive principles that are in constitution that we have, and then it primarily concentrates on what we call is the role of the government in business. The role of government in business nowadays is, it may be a what you call a regulatory role. That is the main function we all are conversant with. But apart from that, in a society like ours, they also play what is called a promotional role and entrepreneurial role nowadays. They are going into business these days, and planning role. These are the four roles of the government which we have been discussed in details in this particular unit, as you can, lesson you can call. Yes, please.
Sir, nowadays the government is changing its policies time and again without having consistency of long span of time. Yeah. So how the business units could cope up with the inconsistent changing policies from time to time, because the business is a long.
I personally welcome this question, Dr. Saab. Businessman these days is a very intelligent fellow. No doubt that one has to be conscious of the political environment within which one is functioning. But the fact is, the businessman also influences the political environment. So they are at times, through their various kinds of activities, they influence the government to follow the specific policies. So sometimes these changes may be the result of what they really want. Yes. But assuming it is not the case, if changes do take place in the political environment, you see, businessman is very fast in adapting himself to the changes that are taken. You see, he is an intelligent fellow. Nowadays, the other day I was with somebody and I found that a student who has done MBA and has worked in a concern like Hindustan Lever Limited, with a fat salary of almost 1 lakh per month, has given up that job and is going for a PhD research program in America, where he may not get much money. But it's a long-term view. Nowadays, the business people are also having staff who are engaged in the activity of researching and visualizing the way things are going to move in the society based on the kind of developments that are taking place. So once they are able to visualize with the help of such people, so you are engaging in not only this R&D of products, but of what is going on in the country and what is expected to happen in the near future. And they accordingly, before changes really take place, they visualized them and bring about the necessary changes in their policies and strategies. See, the businessman is highly futuristic, and because the stakes are very high these days.
And they have alternative plans also, strategies.
Exactly. That's a very correct statement we have made. They also have the alternative plans in this situation. Well, this is the way we'll do. In other situation, this is the way we'll do. So that is what is important. So this is, Dr. Saab, what is the plan block 1, which is giving a broad idea of dimensions of business environment and covering primarily the social, cultural and political environment in the country. So it will give an idea to the students as to what kind of environment in India prevails and how it is affecting the business. Block 2, as I had indicated, deals with the legal environment. Well, our students are quite conversant with the laws of the land, but all said and done, some outline, some overview has been given in this block. For example, block 1 deals with the basic business laws, which almost every commerce student knows, but we have just given an overview of the basic business laws like Indian Contract Act, Indian Sale of Goods Act, the Partnership Act, the Negotiable Instruments Act, the Arbitration Act. That is what contains in the first unit in this block, followed by the second unit where we talk about the environmental laws.
Legal environment.
Nowadays, it's very important that the business units, by virtue of their functioning, should not adversely affect the environment. That is, you have the air environment protection law, you have Protection Act, you have the Water Protection Act, then you have a broad Environmental Protection Act. So an idea about these environment protection laws are being given in this unit. And then the next unit deals with the corporate laws. In fact, the next 2 units deal with the corporate laws. When we talk of corporate laws, normally one thinks in terms of Companies Act alone. In fact, corporate is a very broad term. So while basics of company law have been covered and updated with all the companies amendment acts right up to 2003, and Dr. you will be surprised, we are in 2006. The Companies Amendment Act 2003 till today has not become operative. It's still hanging. So much so that J.J. Irani committee of experts, who is a man from Tata Sons, a committee was appointed in 2004 to advise and build up a comprehensive revisions that are required in the company law. The report has already been praised, and you will be conversant that in the winter session of Parliament this year, it is expected, I am using the word expected, whether it happens, one doesn't know, to completely bring about a new Companies Act. That is what is expected, because so far number of attempts have been made. Unfortunately, we have not yet succeeded in bringing in the new law. But well, we are trying to cover all these aspects in this about the company law. Not that we have discussed company law, but the implications of these amendments in terms of effect on business and have been taken care of. And then the other corporate laws, say for example, SICA, Sikh Industrial Companies Special Provisions Act, Then Industrial Regulation and Development Act, although it is losing its importance now, because with the liberalization policies being followed by the government and licensing becoming very irrelevant nowadays, but still the act is operative. Of course, a decision has been taken to do away with it, and similarly you have the MRTP Act. Both of these acts are now being replaced by what is called the Competition Act, and Competition Act also has been discussed in this case, followed by what you might call the Essential Commodities Act from the point of view, because pricing aspects have been taken care of. So some of the basic corporate laws right up to date have been taken care of in these two units. In the first one, concentrate on company law and amendment, the second one on the other corporate laws that are in. And the last unit in block 2 deals with the labor legislation. You see, because if you will remember, when you are a student, at least I know when I was a student, they used to have a full course on labor laws. You follow, full course. But nowadays we can't afford that kind of inputs. So a full block, we have one unit we have just giving an idea to our students that are what are the various laws relating to labor that are there in our country, and especially those relating to minimum wages, bonus, etc., those relating to social security, you see, like Provident Fund and Gratuity Act, those relating to industrial relations, Trade Union Act, you know, and industrial disputes. As to these labor laws, how are they, what kind of provisions they broadly have. So just in one unit we have tried to give an outline of the various labor laws that are operating as of today in our country. That is about the coverage in block 2. Now coming to block 3, this is one most important area for our students in MCOM, which today deals with financial markets. When we talk of financial markets, you have money market and capital market. And in capital market again you have a primary capital market, you have a secondary capital market. So all these aspects are covered in this block. The first unit, for example, deals with the money market and its main constituents. See, money market deals with short-term funds. You see, so the main constituents happen to be, say, call money market, commercial bills market, treasury bills market. You follow, and then repo market these days. Nowadays another market has emerged, what is called certificates of deposits market. You may not be having an idea about it, but that's what it is. Certificates of deposit. It's a very new idea that has come up. And then still another, commercial paper market. 5 years ago there was no commercial paper concept, but nowadays. So all these 7 constituents, because basic constituents of money market happen to be a call money market, treasury bills market, and commercial bills market. These 3 in London, for example, in England. But nowadays when we studied the scenario in India, we found there are about 6-7 types of money markets that are operating. Repo market is very important. Every 3 months RBI comes up with the repo rate and reverse repo rate, you know. So our students should have an idea at least as to what kind of these
are the instruments. Instruments for
what kind of concept they are, or instruments, as you use the word, they are really are. And normally the students of economics will have these ideas, but I wanted to make sure that our students, because not all of them might have gone through nowadays what is called a course on money banking, and then followed by obviously the capital market, primary and secondary. Because since we are talking about the environmental aspects, we are not talking about what exactly the procedures are followed. So when it comes to the capital issue market, see, we have concentrated on the regulatory aspects. what we nowadays call SEBI guidelines. And when it comes to the stock exchanges, we have first discussed, that is the secondary capital market. We have first discussed the functions of stock exchanges and also the functioning of stock exchanges, modern functioning of stock exchanges, relating to starting with the listing and ending with the settlement. So listing, trading, settlement, and the new concepts that have come in, like derivatives and rolling settlement aspects, all of them have been duly covered within that one unit for the benefit of the students, so that they are not found ignorant of these latest developments. Although it would be difficult really to talk about a concept like derivatives and rolling settlement in 1 or 2 pages, but one has to give an idea to the students that these are the upcoming things and gaining very important, because rolling settlement has become such a wonderful phenomena in this country, and the details have been given, T+2 trade system, so it has been fully explained, I remember. So that is what is there. And then the third unit deals with what is called the regulation of the stock exchange, which is very important. So regulation of the capital market. So first part, as I said, deals with the regulation of the capital issue, dealing with capital, the SEBI guidelines. The second part of this particular unit deals with the regulation of stock exchanges activities, because a lot of manipulations, bad practices take place in the stock exchanges,
Sir,
and they need to be regulated. In this context, there are 2 approaches. One is the powers of the central government in regulating the stock exchanges, and second is SEBI as a controlling body has its own strategies for regulating the stock. Both have been discussed, because good amount of powers the central government has already passed on to SEBI, but still there are certain powers of the central government which they themselves are in collaboration with SEBI exercise those powers. But good amount is exercised now by SEBI. Is the main regulatory body. If you have seen today's paper, Damodaran's photograph is at the top. He's the chairman of SEBI. He said during the last 3 months there hasn't been not much upheaval in the stock exchanges. So it's a very, very topical area of study these days. So we try to give the benefit of limited details in these areas also to our students, followed by corporate governance, about which I might talk if time permits details. I think you had something.
Sir, could we consider Indian money market is a developed money market or developing money market?
Well, again I'll say it's a very intelligent question, because see, honestly speaking, as the comments of the experts in the area go,
Yes.
they say that India is still undeveloped money market situation. Some say no, it's developing. So at best you can say underdeveloped money market. But the fact, according to my understanding, is quite a good amount of development that has taken place, and we are very close to a developed money market even in India, although people have not accepted this as a fully developed capital market as in Britain, because UK is considered to, and US, they are considered to be most, in New York to be specific, as the most developed money markets in the world. But ours is really very close now, because they are, as I have told you, we have 7 constituents of money market as against 3, So they are quite up to date, and RBI in that, because Indians as they are quite conversant with what is going on, because that is the advantage, Rajuji, of this globalization, that is globalization and liberalization that is taking place. Well, with due regards, despite the kind of circus skirmishes you come across every day on the political scenario of our country. Anyway, it's always well intended, and therefore one need not really comment on this. But I think these kinds of things, as good checks and balances, that is the way as an academia I look at. I don't consider interference or no, it is some checks and balances are very necessary in a liberalized atmosphere also. So that's all that is happening, and you have seen that despite all this, our economy is growing at a sufficiently fast rate, and things are happening the way they should. And we are very happy. And look at the stock market, the way it is operating. It has touched 11,000 plus, it has touched 12,000, came down to 10,000 index, but it has again started going up, which is a very, very positive sign of in which direction the economy is going despite all odds.
When foreign direct investments are increasing, that is an indication of the growing of Indian money market.
As simple as that. That means you agree with me in my own observation. So that's block 3, sir. Now block 4 is a very, very important area again, which deals with what you call the economic environment. Because economic environment is a very, very important aspect for the student of business, and the first unit in that block deals with the structure of Indian economy, specifically concentrating on the concept of mixed economy, the kind of structure that we are following. Latest coverage is on the 10th 5-year plan, which is still in operation, about what exactly are the targets it fixed for, and what exactly is the progress up to date that has taken place under the 10th plan. Then this is followed by a discussion in Unit 3 on what is called economic policies in the country. See, the economic policies consist of 3 major aspects. One is the industrial policy. You know, you have been hearing a lot about the industrial policy in this country. They always refer to hammering on industrial policy 1991. And second is the fiscal policy, the one which deals with taxation, expenditure, etc., revenue generation. And the third is monetary policy. So all these 3 in details have been covered in these units. The industrial policy, historical background, updating, the fiscal policy, the latest that is happening on this front, and the monetary policy as pursued by the Reserve Bank of India. It has been fully taken care of. Then the 4th unit again, well, it's the right place to put it, is dealing with the small scale industrial units, because you know that it's a very important area politically, for political consumption, as well as for really economic pursuits in this
An employment point of view.
So many aspects are there. So it covers as to what kind of incentives that the government is offering, what kind of institutional framework that exists, what is the latest priority areas that the government has fixed. It's a sufficiently broad coverage relating to that concept. And last, of course, nowadays relevant for us is it deals with what you call the economic reforms that have taken place in this country. 3 major aspects have been covered in this context. One is the liberalization, followed by privatization, and then globalization. So you can, we read a lot about all these aspects, but you know, I thought it proper to bring in all these inputs in a proper manner in this course. And I can say that since it was delayed because of really bringing in the latest information for the benefit of the students. In fact, Dr. Raju, if somebody has to, in due course of time, build up an appendix every year to this kind of a course, because the latest have to come into the inputs have to come into the program. And then you have the last block, number 5, which is on what you call the international and technological environment. And in this case, the first particular block deals with what is called trends and regulation of foreign trade in our country, including the EXIM policy that is followed by the government, and also it covers what is called FEMA, the case, Foreign Exchange Management Act of 1999. All that had been covered in this particular one unit, followed by what you call the globalization concept and implications of the globalization, especially the role of World Trade Organization, WTA, GATT, etc. All those things have been trimmed, and TRIPS, all the other covered in this kind of unit. And then the last but one unit in this block, the third unit, deals with, as you were indicating, the word FDI and collaboration policies followed by the government, and what exactly is happening on this front in relation to India's external debt also has been taken care of. A broad idea, you know. And the last unit, which is the last unit of the whole course, I should say, is technological environment, which makes our students conscious that they cannot overlook the developments in the technology front that are taking place all over the world, rendering some of our working systems out of date, and unless they adapt themselves to the latest technology, take advantage of them, probably they will, in a globalized business atmosphere, they may find it difficult to, I would say, not survive but grow. That's the way it is. And Dr. Sabha, I may point out and one factor for students here, that our students, so far as the international environment goes, they already have one full course in postgraduate diploma in IBO.
Yes.
The very first international, environment, business environment, international business environment, full course is there. So this is just a broad outline here, because you cannot, and no course on business environment can be complete without talking about the technology transfer and international implications of that. So therefore, one block has been identified for this purpose, but otherwise they'll get more details in that particular full course on the international business environment. So this gives you, in fact, as I had indicated, the question of time permits, but I had a question mark whether I will get enough time really to talk about the corporate governance. Probably we can use another occasion, but I may use the remaining 3-4 minutes that we have at our disposal about to give some idea to our students about this new concept. Most of us are quite conscious about the, I am an investor in shares. That is I have my money invested in the company's shares. I have been seeing that the companies really, at times, if we are not vigilant, they try to do a lot of manipulations, so especially the promoter group.
Yes.
See, they will run the total business and stock market operations relating to their shares. Absolutely, what ultimately goes with due regards to our top business people is in the interest of the promoter groups. See, for example, I remember a company like Sterlite Industries. See, when they were going in for buyback of shares, I had just 200 shares. They sent me an advance check that 20,000 rupees. If you want, you can give these shares to us. I just had 200 shares. So that it was quite tempting when you look at the check of 20,000.
Yes.
So I encashed it. And that share, they bought it at 150 from me, I remember. And the share went up to 3,200 later on. So you can see the kind of, obviously they had manipulated the market during that period, bringing down the price to about 200 or so that they are able to buy the shares back at lower prices. You follow? This kind of, I'm just one example I have given to you.
Speculative.
Then there are a lot of number two operations also that are going on in the company. If you take the case of Shah Wallace, the man, unfortunately, the man has died. You know, in the name of advertisements and all that, and with the dealers, he would get number two money from them for certain preferences, and he took away a good amount of this money by Hawala system to Dubai, where he really belonged to that fellow. And obviously, the Shah Wallace almost literally went into bankruptcy. Were not able to pay their debts. I remember that. It's only after this gentleman, this United Breweries have taken it over, that it has started coming up, and its price is good in the market. So good amount of manipulations go. So there is a need for what you call better management of companies. They are using the concept for this governance, corporate governance concept, and because of many scandals that came to light in UK, in USA, this concept gained currency, and various legal requirements have been, provisions have been developed to ensure what is called good corporate governance. You can call it good management of companies.
Yes. Thank you, Professor Groverji. You have presented an overview of business environment, the topics which are covered, and the central theme of the units you have presented.